Hello everybody and welcome back to my Discord.py bot tutorial, where I try to teach you a little bit more about the Discord.py library and get yourself on your way to be able to make your own Discord.py with as many functionalities as you want, either for your personal or public development, whatever you'd like. Just trying to educate about the Discord.py library and what all the functionalities and possibilities that you can do inside of it. So with that being said, hope you guys are having an amazing day, and let's jump right into the code. So today we're going to be making two commands. They're both going to deal with the random library. I'll leave documentation down below to all the different functionalities that you can do inside of random. But basically any command that you want to be able to get any random value. So let's say you have a list of items and you want to get a random value from there. You're going to use the random. You want a random number within a side of a range. You're going to use that. Literally anything randomly generated, you are going to want to use this library. So the first thing you want to do is go up to the top of our code, and let's get rid of that. And you want to type import random. Pretty easy. If you're running this on if you're running it on an IDE that's run through your machine, like Visual Studio Code, you're going to need to install it separately. But Replit, you can just type it in there. So let's go ahead and create the new command. The first command that we're going to create is a roll command. So very, very simple. All it's going to do is take in a max number. So let's say I do .roll 500. It's going to roll a random number between 1 and 500. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's create a new command at client.command, and we'll create aliases. We say dice because I'll show you, we can actually set the pre-value to be 6. So if you do just .roll and you don't put a number, it'll roll 1 through 6. So it's just like a dice. Okay, and then we do async def roll. And then we're going to pass in CTX. We always pass in CTX. And then we're going to pass in the max number. We just put max. And then we want to take it in as an integer. So int. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to generate a random number between 1 and our max number. So we're going to say number is equal to random.randint. And then we're going to say between 1 and max. And now we do await ctx.send number. So what this is doing is we're creating a command. So at client.command, that's the decorator that we're going to use to always create a command. And then we're going to create aliases of dice. So this can also be run with dice. Then asynchronously defining the command roll. That's what our name is. And then we're going to pass in CTX. So we're able to do all these functionalities. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we're taking in a max value. And then we're generating a number, random.randint, from 1 to that max value. So this will generate random. So let's say I do .roll 500. What this line will do is it'll generate a random number between 1 and 500, and then assign it to this number variable. And then all we're doing is just sending that number variable. So we can go ahead and see that real quick. All right, so heading over to Discord, you can see our bots line, and if we do .roll, it does not work. What is the problem? Oh, yeah, we didn't pass in max. Roll 5. You see, we get 4. Roll 10. We get 10. Roll 50,000. See, we'll get a random number between them. So that's the basics of how the random integer works. You're able to get a random number between 1 and that number. And one thing to mention, if I do .roll 1, it's going to get a number between 1 to 1. If you want to include 0, all you got to do is just change this number to 0. Also, if you want the user to be able to pass in a minimum and a maximum, you just do this min as int, and then instead of putting 1, you could just put min. So now when you run it, they're able to pass in a minimum and a maximum. So if I do .roll a number between 500 and 550, it'll roll some number between that value. But if you just want to use a normal roll command, you can just always have that 0, whatever you like. Let's go ahead and go back to that. So the thing about the dice, so I want this to be able, if I do .roll, obviously we see there's no output and there's an error. I want it to be set to 6 if we don't put anything in. So you just put equals 6, because that's the normal like face values of a dice. So if I do .roll, it'll always roll between 1 and 6 if I don't put in value. But if I want to, I can put in value and then we roll between those numbers as well. So yeah, that's the roll command. Pretty self-explanatory. You can put it into an embed if you like, but this is just the functionality of it. I'm not going to put it into embed, but you guys, if you don't know how to put it into an embed, just go into the past videos. It's pretty easy. I think it was either my server info or user info where I think it was the user info where I broke down embeds entirely. And so if you don't know about those, go check out that video and that'll help you out for sure. All right, now let's jump into the choose command. And pretty much, if you don't know exactly like what this command is, I call it choose, but pretty much what it's going to do is we're going to pass in, I'll just show you, we're going to pass in something like dot choose, and we'll say this dash, and that just stands for like or, and then we put that. And so when I run that, it'll choose a random value between one of the two values that I put in. So I could say choose do this, or do this, and it'll choose one of those random values. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. So let's create a new command at client.command. And again, this is using the random library. So that's why they're together in the same video. Aliases, I don't really know what aliases to put for this. You could put, oh, I didn't even show that for the last one. You could do .dice and it works as well. Aliases, choice, because we'll be using choose, whatever. Put aliases to whatever you want, it's not that important. Async def choose ctx, and then we want to pass in the args, or the arguments. We're just gonna call it args, but that's gonna be what we put after it. So ctx and args, we're just gonna call it args. And then what we want to do is take this argument that's normally, because when we input something, Discord only separates the inputs by a space. So as you saw back here when I did roll 500 space 550, these are technically separated and they're considered as different arguments, and that's how it knows to go into a new argument. If I did roll 500-550, technically these are connected because there's no space, they're connected by the dash. So that's how it determines what is an argument, is by spaces. But obviously in order to choose between a couple of things, we need to be able to split them up into separate arguments. So I want to split it on this dash. That's, you can use whatever. I'm just going to use a dash, dot, whatever, whatever you'd like. Or you can actually just split it on the space. Actually, yeah, let's do that. So, okay, what we're going to do, I kind of just changed the command real quick, but what we're going to do is we're going to do choose, and then do this, that, maybe this. And so we're actually going to split it on the space. But in order to count this all as the same argument, we need to pass in something that lets us take in infinite arguments after. So we're going to do this real quick. So ctx, comma, and do the little star, the asterisk, and then args. So args actually gets defined as whatever we put after it. So if I were to do choose, this is my name, then this is my name would actually be all stored in args as one argument, even though it's separated by space. Since we put this little star asterisk, it allows us to take in multiple things. Okay, so that's good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have to split it on the spaces till we get separate values that we can actually choose from. So let's go random is equal to random dot or sorry, I need to split it first. We're just going to redefine we should say arguments is equal to args dot split, and then we're going to put it on the space, because that's what we're actually splitting it on. So when we split something, it actually puts it into a list. So let's say, like for my example, we have this, that, this. So it's going to take these three and split it into a list that's going to look something like this. So it'll be this, that, and this. So that's what happens when we do the dot split. It puts it into a list like this. And now that we have a list, we can actually use the random module to choose a random answer from that. So now we do choice is equal to random dot choice. I honestly forgot the exact syntax. I think it's random dot choice. And then we pass in the list, which in this case is arguments. And then we could just do await ctx dot send choice, and that should send it. If I didn't mess anything up, that should send it. Let's see. So dot choose this or that, and there we go. It shows or because they're all separated by spaces. If I do it again, this time it's choosing this, that. So as you can see, it's choosing something separate each time. And just to demonstrate this a little better, I can just use numbers and you see it will choose a random one every time. So that time it chose 9. That time it chose 6, 13. So as you can see, it's choosing one of these random values. And yeah, there we go. That is the basics of the choose command. I'm going to go into a little more depth to make this a little more responsive and make it feel like it's actually choosing a value for you, not just not hard-coded, but randomly choosing. I want to make it seem like there's actually some thinking behind it, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to do a couple different things, and we're going to use the async IO module, and we're also going to use the message.edit. So let's go ahead and, I've random imported twice, whoops. Anyway, import async IO, and I'll show you what we're using that for in a second. So what we're going to do is drop this down by 5 lines, I think, either 4 or 5, I'm not sure. And then we'll put some code in here that'll make it seem like it's actually thinking for the answer. It's not just randomly sending it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new variable called thinking, and we're going to do await ctx.send, and we're going to put thinking. So what I want it to do is send a message that says thinking, and then it waits like a couple seconds, and then it finally sends the answer. So it actually seems like it's thinking. And what we're also going to do is use so in here they have the clocks. So you can see all these clocks. Clock 10, they have one from 1 all the way to like 12, and they have the 30s as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the message every 0.2 seconds so that it goes from clock 1 to clock 2 to clock 3 to clock 4. So so it'll look like the clock is actually spinning and it's actually thinking. I think it's just a cool feature, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So for the first one, we want to send clock 1 thinking, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do async io.sleep. I don't think we have to await it. Hold on, let me see. All right, yeah, you do have to await it, sorry. So that's fine. And then we're going to use a for loop, and we're going to use the range function to actually loop over how many times we want to change the message or edit the message. And so we're going to say for I in range of 4. We'll just edit it 4 times. Like I said, I guess technically there's 24 different iterations of this clock emoji. So you can do all of those, but I'm just going to do the first 4. So for I in range 4, and I can be whatever you want. I don't think we're even going to use it. Yeah, no, we're not even going to use it. So then we're going to do await thinking.edit, and then we're going to say, I think content. Actually, I don't think you have to put that, but you're going to take in the variable of the message. So the message we defined as thinking, and we're going to say await thinking.edit, and then we're going to edit it with something. So we're going to say, you can use I, yeah. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was about. Thinking.edit, and we want to edit with something. So we're going to go thinking.edit, and we're going to edit with clock, and then we're going to take in I. So when we iterate over I with the range function, the first value that it's going to give us is 1. So we're going to get, now it's going to have to be I plus 1, I think. Hold on. Yeah. So when we iterate over this, the very first value of I that we're going to get is I is going to be equal to 1, and then I is going to be equal to 2, and then I is going to be equal to 3, and then I is going to be equal to 4. So these are all the values that we're going to get. But obviously we can't edit it first with a value of 1, because up here we already have 1. So all we're just going to do is I plus 1. And so every time it comes over this, instead of the first time coming over, it'll be 1, it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see that in a second. So we edit the message with that, and then we're going to say thinking still. Thinking ... And then we're going to say, we're going to sleep again. So await async io.sleep. I didn't really explain exactly what the async io.sleep does, but pretty much it asynchronously sleeps, or it just pauses the code wherever it's at. So it'll sleep for, and this is in seconds, so 0.2 seconds. And then I think that's it. Unless I'm missing something. Let me see what this does. I think I am missing something, but we'll see. So if I do this, let's see. I feel like I am missing something. Yeah, I am missing something. Hold on, what is it? Oh, sorry. Okay, I was about to write it, but you told me to get rid of it. So you do have to define content as that, because I think the first argument that .edit takes isn't content, so you have to define it as that. But this should work now, hopefully. Let's get rid of this. .choose. Let's see. I think this will work now. Oh, I forgot hold on. I forgot the, what's that called? Colon on the end. Now it should work, but you saw it kind of work there. But you'll see it in full action here. So you'll see that clock first is clock 1, and then it edits clock 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then it sends the answer. And you can make this go all the way to 12. But yeah, this is obviously, you can keep it how it was to where it just sends the value. That's fine, but this kind of makes it feel a little more responsive. Obviously, I didn't format it like amazing. It just kind of is in a regular message, and that's completely fine. But if you want to put it in embed, I'll just kind of show you how to make a command feel more responsive and like it's actually thinking, and it's not just sending a value like right after you run the command. So this is how to use asyncio.sleep, how to use message.edit. Very simple commands, but it makes it feel a lot better by just adding a couple lines of code. So yeah, that's been the roll and choose command. Two things that deal with the random package or the random library. I hope you guys enjoyed. Kind of simple, but also kind of like useful to be able to know how to use random, because trust me, you'll use random a lot. So it's good to know how to use that. And like I said earlier, the random library, the documentation for that will be down in the description. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. If you guys are wanting to see some certain videos in the future, just let me know down in the comments. If you like the video, subscribe, like the video, and yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.